Hi, my name is Kennedy, and I'm a writer. Welcome to the first episode of my show, Mostly Vanity. We're doing it! Finally! I have the courage and the drive to put myself out there. Welcome to Mostly Vanity. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of questions. I'm sure you have a lot of ponderings. Mainly, what is the show? What is this channel? What is going on here, right? And I started this channel mainly because I am a writer and I'm working on my first novel. And I, for one, wanted a way to show people who I am as a person because um, from what I've learned, as well as some advice I've gotten from some people I trust, um, I feel like you're more of fans of somebody who you can get to know who they are. Um, you're more willing to try or try again depending on um, how good or bad the first thing you pick up is. But yeah, this is just for me to share my life and who I am, my interests, and I'll get more into that in the future. But today I really just want to talk about my background of how did I get here as a creative? Why am I writing novels? Where did this all come from? Well, I started writing when I was 14. I didn't write novels at that point. I was writing music. I wrote my first song at 14. My mother had always put me in different musical lessons. She wanted me to pick up an instrument, and I ended up finally picking up the guitar and came up with a cool little song that was kind of groovy and jazzy and fun. And then I just kind of fell in love with that creation process. I've always loved creating things. And I started that when I was 14. I started when I got to high school, I started learning about a lot of these poets and Shakespearean sonnets and all that, and I started trying to write poetry. And I had such a drive to create. Like it's very much innately in me to create things. And I mean, so much so as the cool little intro song that I'm adding here uh, is I made that song, or that's the end part of a song that I snipped off and decided to use as the intro of this because I don't know if I'm going to use it for anything else. But again, I've been making music for a long time, and I went to college, made some music through that. I graduated, started my career, and about a year ago, I really started to analyze myself because I wasn't really doing anything with music. Like, I was writing in my bedroom, but like I wasn't really doing anything with it. And I wasn't showing it to anybody. I felt weird about it. I felt like insecure. I would feel weird if like I showed music to somebody, even my wife, which feels I don't feel like it should feel like that. It's not because I thought it was bad. It was just personal, and I wanted to hold that in. And I really did some self analysis about a year ago, and I realized that the thing I really love is the writing. Like I love music, I love singing, I love creating music, but the thing that I'm really attracted to is the writing part of songwriting. It's like I really don't care about like performance or doing shows. Like I don't care about that. I love singing at my church. That's really amazing, and that's giving to something that's not about me. And I really love that. But the music was just so self-centered and about me and what I wanted and what I wanted to write. And I don't know. I kind of got sick of it because I was creating all this, but I wasn't doing anything with it. And that's when I did that self-analysis and realized that I love writing. And one of the things I did after I got out of college and I got into my career, I had some more time. I'd didn't have to do homework after I came home, which was, God, what a relief it is to not have to do homework anymore. You remember homework? You remember projects, group assignments? Man, I was in college for 5 years. I got my bachelor's and my master's, and I loved college, but and which just feels weird to say. Most people hate college, or are like, woohoo, well, I love college, But I really loved learning. I love learning, and I loved my classes. And despite that, at the end of it, I was ready. I was ready to let it go, and make some money, go home, and turn my brain off, or turn my brain on to something that I really want to do. But after college, I started picking up books again. I had been a really avid reader when I was a kid. I read a lot of like Rick Riordan, as well as I think it's a middle grade author named Aaron Hunter. Did a bunch of these like warrior series about these like cats and clans, and I was a weird kid, but it's fine. But those are great books. Don't no, we'll have no Aaron Hunter slander here. Um, but anyway, um, I really loved reading, and I loved the Rick Riordan stuff. I loved the history and the mythology, and the fantasy elements that were in there. I really enjoyed, and so I was like, I really want to pick up reading again. And I got a subscription to Audible and started listening to audiobooks at work or working outside, whatever. And I started picking up some books. I started reading like The Hobbit. I picked up like some Andy Weir books. I picked up Terry Pratchett, Brandon Sanderson, a bunch of great authors. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is another one. Great audiobooks, by the way. And I just really loved it. But I felt a drive to pick up a physical book again. And I told myself, I don't want this to be another hobby that I buy a whole bunch of stuff for and then don't do anything with, which hasn't always happened, but I'm always worried that I'm going to like put a lot of money into something and then like not use it. Like I always want to make sure that like, am I really into this thing? Am I really going to do it? Or am I really going to interact with whatever it is? And so what I did was I went to my local BAM. That was probably loud. My local BAM. That's Books a Million, if you didn't know. I might have to cut that depending on how that sounded, but I went to my local BAM and I bought a paperback version of The Way of Kings, which is down there somewhere. I'm not going to reach for it. But I was like, if I can finish this monstrosity and like actually read it and finish it, then like I'm back, And it took me a little while, but I got through it, really loved it. And so now you see a shelf full of books here, and it goes all the way to the floor. Um, Again, I have a lot of other interests. I have video games behind me and stuff like that, which I'll talk about more on this channel. I want to talk about all of the things I'm interested in. But back to my point is, I found that reading again. It was so invigorating, and I asked myself like, could I write a book? I had always kind of had it in the back of my mind, like I'll get older and have life experience, and then write a nonfiction book about life or something I would never personally read, because I'm not a big nonfiction guy, and I don't know why that was always in my head, but it was. So I always kind of had aspirations to write a book, but I hadn't considered fiction, and I decided to consider it and go, is this something I may want to pursue? And I started doing some research, learning how to write novels, watch YouTube videos. Brandon Sanderson has his lectures online, which is so cool that he does that, by the way, to put his lectures out. If you go to his channel, I mean, he has like lectures about his process. And, I wouldn't say I work the same way he does. Very differently, I would say, although I am still very much an outliner. So some of his stuff didn't directly apply to me, but it's amazing that he puts that out. But also just BookTube, learning about great books and great writers that I've never heard of, a lot of really amazing channels. I started watching things like Two to Ramble and Talking Story. I'm a really big fan of Talking Story. Um, and like Kissed Reads and Bookborn and Daniel Green and all of these booktubers and really getting invigorated with the community. And it just felt right. And so I started trying to think of some ideas. And I started writing one book that I thought was an interesting idea. Um, but I wasn't really passionate about writing it. So I don't really know how far I got in that, maybe 8,000 words. Um, and then I just decided to put that away. And then I had another idea that I was trying to go for, and I didn't get very far in that either because I really didn't plan it out that well. I was kind of just going by the seat of my pants, and I had an idea, but I didn't really know where that was going. And so I was like, I realized that I couldn't do what I did with music, which for music I had to be it had to be a vibe, and I had to come up with it just gotta feel right in the moment, man, which is so opposite of who I am as a person. But I don't know why. That's just how music's always been for me. I think that's why I've been attracted to writing it. But I realized that for books I needed to be more structured because it was a much harder medium to get into. It's a lot harder to write a book than a song, obviously. Um, Maybe not for some people, but for me, it's very much more difficult. Um, and so, I wrote those two novels, or started trying, and then finished, and then I found an idea that I really liked. I took a lot of time outlining it, like chapter by chapter outlines. There's still some question marks there, but most of it's there. And once I had it in a good place, I started writing it, and here we are, and I'm a good ways into writing it, and it feels really great. This one feels right. And I have a lot of other ideas that are like in the same world as this, so this will be kind of like the beginning point to a story that's woven between other books. I don't want it to be a series, and I'll talk about that in a future video of why my love hate relationship with book series is. Um, but I'm really excited. This one feels right, and I'm starting this channel or this video series of Mostly Vanity just to talk about everything else besides writing. But I'm also making weekly writing sync videos, which is just I'm gonna tell you how I'm feeling, tell you my current word count, which if you want to do that, go check out the writing sync, which I don't know if it's up not yet. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna schedule these videos. Um, but every week, this time, whatever day this is coming out on, I'm gonna post Mostly Vanity, and every day that the writing syncs are on, that one's probably gonna be Monday. We'll see how that goes. But on Mondays, probably writing syncs will come out every week. I've already recorded the first one not long ago, and yeah, all of this feels right. Um, I think I had a lot of ego in my music creation, and I don't get me wrong, I still love music, I still write music, but I'm just not gonna pursue it in the way I once did. Um, I'm gonna do it for me, and if nobody hears it, that's cool. And maybe I'll do something with my music. Maybe it'll tie into the stuff I'm writing in terms of novels. I really don't know. Um, but I'm excited for what's next. I'm excited for this channel. I'm excited for this show. I bought these nice lights. I bought this camera. Hopefully it's decent. But I'm investing in this, and I don't feel the pressure to create. I'm just gonna, again, update people on my writing for the writing syncs, and then I'm gonna um, talk about whatever I want here, and hopefully it's semi-structured, and hopefully it's enjoyable, and hopefully you like my personality, you like who I am. So if you want to follow along with the journey, feel free to subscribe, like the video. That feels weird saying, but as I've never said that before. But yeah, subscribe. It's free. You don't have to pay me a penny. But I really appreciate you sticking around if you stuck around this long. If you enjoy something like this, if you have any ideas of stuff you may want me to talk about, um, I'd love to talk about it. I'm very open to ideas. I'm not guarded of it has to come from me. Like if you have a great idea or want to hear my thoughts on something, shoot me a comment, shoot me a message. I'm very approachable. Um, I'm gonna start making some like shorts and reels, etc. But that's probably gonna take a little bit of time to figure out how I'm gonna do. Um, but yeah, man, I'm excited about this journey, and I hope you follow along with me. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.